Hello everyone, my name is Ashwin. I'm from Google Research Mountain View, and today I'll be talking about handling many conversions per click and modeling delayed feedback. This is joint work with Andrew, Vinod, Pan, Vin, and Jaden from Google. Let me define the problem first. Let's say there is a user who's in a vacation booking mode. User issues a search query. User clicks on an ad. Then the user gets busy due to work or life. And finally, user returns and books a hotel, uh, like let's say 7 days later. In performance-based advertising, you bid typically expected number of conversions given a click or expected value of conversions given a click. The way this is done is you build a supervised machine learning model where the label is conversions after the click. Typically, when there are more than one conversion, you attribute the conversions to most recent click or last click attribution, but there could be a different attribution scheme, and we won't be touching upon that in this talk. What we do see is when we train such a supervised machine learning model on all the data till most recent data, you see under prediction because most recent clicks haven't resulted in conversions yet. They'll result in conversions either tomorrow or day after tomorrow or some other time. Yeah, under prediction or the bias is predicted conversion rate divided by true conversion rate with mature label minus 1. And the problem that we study is how do you train a supervised machine learning model while fixing bias due to immature labels. Let me give you a brief overview of existing literature. The problem was first introduced by a very nice paper by Olivier Chappell, and this was for the restricted case of 0 or 1 conversions per click, and he solves it using survival analysis. And there's a very rich follow-up literature on this topic. But the most relevant paper for us is delayed feedback model with negative binomial regression for multiple conversions. And this one solves the problem for multiple conversions per click. It extends Olivier's result to use survival analysis for multiple conversions per click. It doesn't really work for our setting because we study an even more general setting than the one studied in this paper. And I'll explain the differences in our settings in the next two slides. The first difference is let's consider the situation where user clicks on an ad. 1 day later, the user buys item for $1. Then 3 days later, the user buys the second item for $3.5. And 2 days later, the user returns the first item. And finally, again, 5 days later, user buys an item for $5. Here, we do have multiple conversions per click like the previous paper, but there are some salient differences. The first difference is that when we look at data, we typically don't see that the distributions of delays don't necessarily follow a nice family. It's not really exponential or any other nice family. The second key difference is uh, we have, when we try to predict the total value of the conversions, you have a float label that you need to predict. And all the previous papers on multiple conversions per click consider the integer case where you need to predict an integer number of conversions. Now, the final difference, which is not handled by any of the previous papers, is they all assume that conversions can only happen, but you don't have negative conversions. So you don't have retractions where you return an item. Let me go over the next difference. All the previous papers consider in batch learning, where you have a random subset of the data as test data, and the ML model goes over training data in random mini batches, where each mini batch is a mixture of older mature examples and newer immature examples. In our case, we will use online learning, where the data is ordered by their timestamp, and ML model goes over the examples in their order of their timestamp, where you first train on examples which are old, and then progressively train on examples which are newer and newer. In online learning, you also don't have a explicitly separate test set. You first evaluate on an example before training on that example. So in some sense, all of the examples are tested. And in our paper, we will mostly consider online learning, and this is also used in a lot of production systems in industry. Let's look at the proposed model and the proposed ideas in this paper. The first key idea is we split the label into different delay buckets. So let's say T4 is a maximum delay. then and y is the label. We consider y of 0 to t4 is the total number of conversions. We split it into buckets 0 to t1, t1 to t2, t2 to t3, t3 to t4. Here we have 4 buckets, but we can have a different number of buckets, let's say 3 or 6 or 7. And the goal here is to come up with a different model to predict each of these buckets. So model 1 predicts only the label in the first bucket. So it trains on only examples which are at least T1 ago. So all these examples have a mature label for the specific bucket. Then we have a second model, model 2, which predicts label in the bucket T1 to T2. And this one trains only on examples which are T2 time ago. And here too, all the examples are mature for the specific label. And we have model 3, which predicts bucket T2 to T3. This one trains on examples which are at least T3 ago. And even here, the examples are mature. Finally, we have model 4 and so on. The final prediction is a prediction of each of the 4 models. And by linearity of expectations, what we get is an unbiased estimator. The main problem with this idea is that there are 2 specific challenges. First is that you need 4 models in serving, which is very expensive at serving time. The second one is that each of these models train on fewer positive examples as you split into more and more buckets, because of which it results in label sparsity. To solve this, we use thermometer encoding. Essentially, model 4 is exactly the same as before, but model 3 predicts its own bucket plus predictions from model 4. Model 2 predicts its own bucket plus predictions from model 3. And model 1 predicts its own label plus bucket plus predictions from model 2. As a result, you just need only model 1 at serving time, and the remaining models are only used for training. Is this idea enough, or is there anything else? One more thing that we see in our results is that some of these models train with a long delay, like model 4 trains with a max delay of T4. And this could be, let's say, 30 days or longer. As a result, these model 3, model 4, which are trained with a delay, are stale, because of which their bias tends to drift over time. To solve this, we introduce another idea of using auxiliary information. We note that these models are used only at training time, and they are not really used at serving time. So we can actually add more features to this model which are not available at serving time. So model 4, for example, includes feature of how many conversions happen from 0 to T3 to predict how many conversions happen in the window T3 to T4. Model 3 has how many conversions which happen in 0 to T2, and so on. This auxiliary information tend to stabilize these stale models. Let's look at our experimental results. To look at our experimental results, we have several models that we train. We have an Oracle model which knows all the mature label and trains on it. As we can see, the bias of our proposed model is close to being unbiased with less than 1% bias. We have a model M1 which trains neglecting delay, and as you can see, as it approaches the current date, it ends up under predicting a lot. Then we have M2 which train with some delays, let's say 7 days or 15 days, and don't train on that data. Otherwise, it's similar to M1. And we see that it fixes bias a little bit, but not completely. M3 trains only on mature data. This should ideally be unbiased, but as we see, this M3 model is very stale, and that results in covariate shift and drift of bias, because of which even M3 has large bias. M4 and M5 remove some of the ideas, and we see even those have biases. Finally, we also look at negative log likelihood, and we see our model has the best accuracy. We also look at accuracy on long delay advertisers and newer advertisers, and we see our model does the best. When we plot this log likelihood over time, we see that on older data, all the models are okay. But as we come closer to current date, our model does better, while other models tend to do worse. These are all the ideas in the paper. I'm happy to take Q&A during the regular session.